Hi there, Ronnie here, coming at you with a video, part 2. Games that I did receiveth from people. And I'm going to get this one out of the way first. Due to a strange policy on the part of Amazon, people bought stuff off my Amazon wish list and it didn't disappear. So other people bought the same stuff on Amazon wish list. So I have purchased replacements, which I'll get into as I go. But this is about saying thank you to people. So from Becky and Jason and Alan and Josie, I got this, which is Raccoon Tycoon. I played this at the Lanarkshire Gamers and really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very interesting economic engine building game. I was quite surprised to win it, actually, because I was up against someone who owned the game and played it regularly. So I was not expecting to win, but I did, and I really enjoyed it. And it's a very good game, and I'm just really upset that you know, due to Amazon, I got 2 copies of it. But someone else will get that. I've kept one of them in shrink to sell on. The replacement, because I tried to get like for like. So having done gotten one economic sort of engine building game, I to replace that one. So in the place of the second one comes this one, which is Furnace, which was also on my wish list, and I have been looking at this for a while. Again, it's another economic game, although it's barely an economic game. Yes, you're earning money, but the money are literally points at the end of the game. You're not actually using the money to invest and reap the rewards and sort of speculate to accumulate. It's all about winning bids for cards and maximizing the amount of various resources and changing them into other resources to change into other resources to change into money. Very interesting mechanic. I like the idea of it, and it's a very nice game. So that is the replacement for the second copy of Raccoon Tycoon. So there's that. So that's first. The other one I got 2 copies from is this. I got this from Leonie and Caroline, and also from Samantha and Ken. This is Game of Thrones House of the Dragon Seat of Power. Now, I have a fair few, well, not fair few, but a nice selection of sort of conquest games, which is not war games played over one territory or one field, an actual war game, but played over a nation or a continent or a world. And they're very, very good, and they're quite, most of them are quite in depth. And I'm okay with that. However, with regards to my Wednesday group, I can't really bring any of them in because on top of being in depth, they're quite time consuming, and time is a premium. And I sort of wanted something that was not Risk, because I really don't like Risk as a game. I'll play it, but I'm not a big fan. I've got Risk Europe, which I only have because it made some significant changes to the base game. Darren, who's one of the people who goes to the Wednesday group, he now has Risk Game of Thrones edition, the Skirmish edition. So that might come into the Wednesday group. But I wanted something sort of entry level. for myself. And so I got this. Now, I've seen a couple of reviews of it, and people weren't particularly impressed. And I have to say, I don't care. If this game was being bought to be a heavyweight game, then I might be unimpressed by the fact that it's a very light war game. But I bought it because it's a light war game, or a light conquest game. Or, you know, that's why it was on my wish list, because I wanted something light that would be a good entry level game, and then move on from that for some of my players who've never really dealt with this kind of game before, and move on from that to something a bit meatier, a bit heavier, a bit more oomph to it. So I got 2 copies of that. So the replacement for the other copy is this one. It's War of Whispers. I have seen a few reviews of this, and they really seem to like it. Again, I wanted like for like, and something that has an appeal. This one's slightly different because you're not really playing the generals on the ground. You're playing the spies and movers and shakers behind the scenes. So in that respect, it's probably closer in amongst the games I've got to Imperial. But it was close enough for me to want to have this game, and I think it's a fitting replacement for that game. And I hope, because I literally don't know whose copy I've kept and whose copy I'm passing on in both cases, because I don't think it's right, so, which is why I've mentioned that most people did, but I've gotten a replacement for one of them, because I felt it wasn't their fault that Amazon didn't remove the 2 items. This was also on my wish list. It was the one on my wish list was the deluxe edition, which was looking great, but the deluxe edition was now being cited as being delivered between March and July of this year, and I'm like, what? No thanks. So I've just got a standard one. Apparently this year they're going to be releasing an upgrade kit, so anyone who has the base version can upgrade to the upper components, and I might invest in that, but we'll see. So that's them and the replacements. I'll deal with this other one. Also from Caroline and Leonie, I got this, which is Cluedo Conspiracy, which effectively it's Cluedo. Essentially, it's a sequel to Cluedo. It's what the people did next. But it's Cluedo meets the Resistance. It has that whole sort of traitor mechanic, and we don't know, you don't quite know who the good guys or the bad guys, who's working for the killer and who's working. And I like that. It's a very interesting twist on Cluedo, and I really like the fact that I've got this. I'm going to be playing that very soon, actually. That will not stay on the shelf of shame for long. I'm very happy to have it. Unexpected, because it wasn't on my wish list. This is very much a blind buy, and I really like it. I'm very, very happy to have it. Piling things away. Welcome back. For some reason that stopped for a moment. Right, so from Phil, I got this. Indiana Jones Sands of Adventure. I'd never heard of this game. So my Christmas Day and Boxing Day was looking up YouTube videos on it, to get a feel for the gameplay. And yeah, this looks like it's going to be an absolute ball. One of the interesting things is this sand timer, which is on a balance. This thing is actually on a sort of pedestal balance thing. And certain cards or certain things will make you drop gems into the top. And everyone is just nicely playing, but when a certain amount of gems get in, this thing will tip and the sand will start to run. And then you've only got until the end of the sand run, till the sand runs out, to actually complete and beat the villain that you're dealing with. So it will go from very relaxed to incredibly stressful very quickly, and I like that idea. That actually tickles me to do that. Definitely different. A nice family weight game, that, and I'm quite happy to have it. From Kirsty and Phil, I got this one I've been looking at for a while. It was in my wish list for a while, which is 10 Days in the USA. It is the Italian edition, which again, Amazon, make it clearer which bloody edition it is in the title. Anyway, luckily, sourcing the English rules for this was very, very quick and very, very simple, and all the cards and components are language independent, so actually only cost me a couple of quid to get the English language rules for this, and so this game is now playable. I've wanted this for a while. I'm intrigued by the fact that, and you're going to have to forgive the fact that it's all in Italian at the back. It's got a lovely board of America, which, not the only game I have which has a board of America, Ticket to Ride and Transamerica come to mind. But actually this board is never touched, in as much as you only use it as a reference. It's a reference guide for your cards, because you're trying to create a line of cards, 10 cards, 10 tiles of your journey. And I love this idea. I like the idea that you have that the board is there, but it's not a board game per se. It's not even engine, it's a set collection game of sorts. You're literally trying to set up a run. You're trying to set up a run of destinations and travel, and I really like this idea. Really good idea. Love it. My group on the Wednesday, I got all of them sort of nice little kind of presents and so on for Christmas. And one of them is Wolf, who goes regularly to Lanarkshire Gamers. And because I'd gotten him one, he gave me one of his from his collection, which is Azul Mini. We actually played Azul at the Christmas party, myself, Wolf, Fiona and Maxine, and they really enjoyed it. So I'm really glad to have this. It's Azul, but with much tinier components, which means it's not taking up so much table space, which works for me. And more importantly, it's not going to take up much space on my Galaxy, which is even more important to me. Nice abstract tile laying game. I think I've got enough of these now. I've got a fair amount of sort of abstract tile games, and I think I'm done. I think I'm happy with what I've got. To be honest, I think I'm okay with what I have now. This is enough, if I'm honest. from Maxine, I'm putting this in amongst the gaming thing because it is gaming related. From Maxine's fiance Balin, I received this, which is a new sort of folding dice tray with a nice big dragon on it. I really like that, and it comes complete with a set of dice as well, which apparently he didn't even realize was in it. He thought he was just buying me the and the dice are just a nice wee extra. Finally, the other present from Saffron, my daughter. Well, finally for this little section. Last but not least, I'm a big fan of Summoner Wars. 2 new packs came out. And one of those packs was the Filth. Packaging's already gone. They're now in a bag. They're now in a baggie because they're already in the box. I do have the other one, which I'll mention in a minute. But I think I'm kind of like with the abstract games. I've got so many of the faction packs now. I've got more, because it's a 2-player game, I've got more than I would ever need, realistically. So I think I'm quite happy. I don't play it in any sort of tournament form. I play it casually with friends. I like Summoner Wars a lot. I think it's a great wee card game. I've got it in my war game section because, to be quite honest, it is a war game. It's just instead of troops on a map, your troop is your units are cards rather than figures, and it's a gridded map. Okay, it's blank, but it's a gridded map with units, and you're rolling dice and crack. It's a war game, 2-player war game, and it's a very good game. I really like it. A lot of people, I know there's some people who don't like it because they claim that it's a little too simple. I frankly don't agree. I don't think it's too simple. I think it's just the right amount of it's just the right amount of oomph. So I'm going to put these away. I'm going to pause this, put these away, and then I'm going to show the little things that I have bought for myself, for reasons I'll explain in a second. So back in a tick, and we're back. So the final pack that I got for myself as a little treat with a couple other things is this one, which is Chosen Grove. Again, it's no longer in the pack because it's going into the box. And yeah, I got that, and I bought myself a couple of things. I've got one other thing that I bought using some vouchers about a month or so ago, which I'll get just directly. But for now, because for reasons I'll go into in a very, very future video, soon video, I am not buying any games at all in 2025. This is me done. So this is my last little indulgence. Hannibal, Rome versus Carthage, which is a 2-player, they'll call it war game. I tend to refer to them as conquest games because it's taking place over entire nations, the entire sort of Europe, rather than just one battlefield. It looked very interesting. Yes, it's a 2-player and it's about 2.5 hours long. And I like the idea of having one sort of really thinky, heavy conquest game for 2 players. I can sit with one of my friends and just have a real mental battle with. But war games were had. And this is Waterloo, Napoleon's Last Battle, which is either for 2 or 3 players. If you're playing 2 players, then one's playing the French and one's playing the British and Prussians. If you're playing 3 players, then it's the French, the British, and the third player's playing the Prussians. Again, yes, it's you know, it's a grid, it's chits on a map. But realistically, this is as much about the size of boxes as anything else. If someone had come out with a version of Commands and Colors Napoleonic that had Napoleonic figures, I would have bought it. Because I love that Commands and Colors system, because I've got a few already, and that one would have just been, you know, chef's kiss on it. But Napoleonic was really the only thing I was really missing. I did have Waterloo Califare a few years ago, but just that system really just hurt my brain. I was not a fan. So, you know, this one looks interesting. It uses cards, from what I can gather, rather than any dice. So I'm intrigued to see how it all works, if I'm honest. My last little indulgence of this, because as I say, I'm not buying anything this year. One of the great holy grails for me in terms of sci-fi games is Twilight Imperium. But the reality of Twilight Imperium versus the fantasy of Twilight Imperium. Twilight Imperium is a game that is vast in scale, vast in time, and vast in table space. And I don't have the time really, and I certainly don't have the table space to put on something like Twilight Imperium. But the idea of playing a 4X space opera style game still is an itch I want to scratch. I mean, I do have ISS Vanguard. The problem there with ISS Vanguard is one of and this is no one's fault. It's one of those campaigns that you really want to have the table out full time, and I simply in this house don't have the space to have a permanently, you know, one of the tables permanently up to place ISS Vanguard on to play it. And because of that, it's been sitting in the box. And it's a big campaign game. It's about 30 hours. And it's a big campaign game. And I like the idea of playing it. So ISS Vanguard will have to wait until I've got a house where I can actually have a permanent table set up so I can play it. In the meantime, I still want something in that sort of Twilight Imperium style, which doesn't take up half a mile of table. And I've been looking and looking and looking for something, and I found this. Exodus Proxima Centauri. Someone was selling it second hand, along with one of the expansions. It's not as big, it's not as grand, it's not as expensive as Twilight Imperium or Eclipse, but I would say it's a manageable version of that game, without feeling like you need to take over an entire house just to play the damn thing. Now that's not me criticizing Twilight Imperium as a game. It's phenomenal. But realistically, it's not something I'm ever going to get to table in my own home. So it would be a waste of time having it. This, on the other hand, I could see me getting to table. So that's pretty much it, bar one item which I will go and get just directly. Bear with me. And last but not least, I got a voucher from my friend Stephen. You saw in the first video part of what I bought with it, but what I mainly bought with it was this. Which is the latest expansion for Villainous. This introduces King Candy, who I believe is from Wreck-It Ralph. I may be wrong about that. And Shere Khan. As with what I said about Summoner Wars, I have every expansion for Villainous so far, Disney Villainous. And there is a part of me, a sort of completionist part of me, that wants every expansion. But at some point, you've got to be realistic and stop. And I think I'm reaching that point. I think the proof of the pudding will come when I actually have to, when the next Villainous, Disney Villainous expansion comes out. I'm going to have to really hold myself back and say, you know what, enough. I have enough. I've got plenty of options and fun to be had, and because you can have up to 6 players, and I've got about 30 different characters now, so at least a good 20 odd. So there's lots of combinations of different characters if you're playing with 6 players to play with Villainous. So I'm okay with that. I think that's more than enough. I mean, I suppose you could if you wanted to, because of the amount of tokens that I have, because you get extra tokens with all the expansions and so on. I suppose you could expand it to more than 6 players. I don't know why you would, but I suppose you could, and have all sorts of permutations, but we'll see. But thanks for watching, guys. I know it's been a while, and I'll explain in the next video why it's been a while, and but yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll be back soon with another video. But before I say that, the reason I show these videos is not to say, ooh, look what I got. It's not about vanity or ego or anything else. It's actually a genuine way to say thank you to all the wonderful friends and family that I have, who are just amazing. I am constantly in awe of my friends, and I'm very, very grateful for them. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll be back soon with another video.